star wrestler. In addition to wrestling, Rohan Murphy is also an accomplished powerlifter, competing in international competitions all over the world, representing the United States. He has spoken in over 40 states about his journey and what motivates him to be successful. Put your hands together and give a gladiator welcome for Rohan.
Thank you. How you guys doing today? Good. Oh, great to be here. Once again, my name is Rohan Murphy. I am now a youth motivational speaker from right down the road, East Islip. And today, I'm here with you all to share my story. And to tell you how I overcame not having legs. But with that said, I'm going to start from the very beginning. And unfortunately for me, I was born with a very severe birth defect that left both my legs deformed. And a lot of kids your age always ask me, well, what do you mean deformed? Well, when I was born, my kneecaps were on the opposite side. When I was born, my legs were backwards. That's how bad deformed my legs were. At the time, my doctors really didn't have any answers to my parents. My parents took it really hard, especially my mom. Went on anyhow to live the first 4 years of my life with deformed legs. Finally, at the age of 4, my parents and doctors decided that it'd be best if I had my legs amputated, in hopes of someday, maybe around middle school, even high school, get prosthetic legs, walker prosthetics. So at the age of 4, I had my legs amputated, but I had some complications through surgery, and I required 5 additional surgeries afterwards. So as a kid, I spent a lot of time in the hospital, a lot of time at home trying to recover, I've always been surgeries and procedures, and for the first couple years, I was even homeschooled, because physically, I just couldn't go to school every day. But then finally in 3rd grade, like any other kid, I began to attend school. And that first day of school back in 3rd grade, that's when it hit me. That's when I truly realized that I was different. When I first started going to school, there were just so many things I couldn't do on a daily basis that all my friends and classmates were able to do. And a big thing for me, at the point in my life when I was a kid, was the ability to play sports. Because as a kid, I loved sports. Always had a real natural passion for sports. I think a love and passion for sports came from my father, Noel, because he named me as great athletes when he was a kid. The first one was a cricket player, my name was Rohan Kanai, and my middle name Mario came from his favorite soccer player, Mario Kempes. And that's how I got my full name, Rohan Mario Murphy. But when you don't have legs, you really can't play too many sports, like a travel soccer, Little League baseball, and at a young age, I never thought that I'd ever be given an opportunity to play competitive, able-bodied sports. But thankfully, that all changed. Back in middle school, back in 8th grade, because of one person, because of one teacher. My 8th grade phys ed teacher, Mr. Ron Croto, or Coach, as I call him. And you see, most students in schools, like all of you, don't really know or realize that the teachers and administrators in your school have that ability and that power to truly change your lives for the better. But trust me, believe me, they do. And that's exactly what Coach did for me. So Coach realized once again, when I had my legs, obviously, I couldn't play most sports now, like soccer. She was coaching at middle school. So Coach was nice enough and kind enough to make me a team manager for a middle school soccer team. And by becoming a manager for a middle school soccer team, I would practice every day, go to all the games, help with the stats and attendance. And finally, for the first time, I was actually part of a sports team. And I did such a good job being a manager for a soccer team during the fall. The very next season, during the winter, Coach once again gave me the same role as manager, but this time for our school's wrestling team. So I became manager for wrestling team as well. Did a pretty good job once again helping him out with the wrestling team. But then one day, towards the end of the season, Coach says to me, Ro, I got a great idea. I asked him, Coach, what's that? He says, Ro, I'm doing some thinking and I think you could wrestle. He said, bro, I think you could somehow go out on that mat and wrestle kids with legs and be a wrestler like anyone else. And I asked him, right, Coach, but if I don't have legs, how in the world could I wrestle? He said, it'll be easy. He said, I'll just have to somehow roll myself out onto the mat, jump on the mat, grab kids' legs, and take them down. And I told him, Coach, thanks, no thanks. And I told Coach, wrestling, Coach, it's not for me. I'm happy to just be the manager. But I think about Coach, what really made me great, what really made me special, not only as a teacher, but as a person. Coach did not give up on me. He did not give up on me. He was just so persistent. Every single day, we tried to join the wrestling team, try to sport wrestling. Usually I'll tell Coach no. But one day after school, Coach finally got a hold of me. Literally. He brought me down to the practice room, and he started really showing me and demonstrating to me how I could wrestle, how I could take people down, how I could pin people, even without legs. And I couldn't believe it. Finally, I found a sport that I can do. I found one sport that I can play. I told my coach, you know what? Next year, if I'm in high school 9th grade, I'm gonna try for a high school wrestling team. I'm gonna somehow make the team, just for you, coach. He said, all right. So of course, now I'm a woman. I told my parents about it, but my mom, she did not want me to wrestle. I mean, you guys know how moms are. My mom was so worried about me getting hurt, getting injured, and she would say to me, bro, you're gonna be out there wrestling kids with legs. You're gonna be at a huge disadvantage. Aren't you worried? Aren't you afraid that you're gonna lose a lot? I told her no. I wasn't afraid to fail. I wasn't afraid to lose. I just want to really try the sport of wrestling, and if the sport of wrestling didn't work out, then so be it. At least at the end of the day, I can say I did my best. My parents finally said to me, all right, bro, if you want to go do it, go ahead, go wrestle. Just be careful and have fun. So 9th year came, I did just that. Went on a high school wrestling team. And that first practice back in 9th grade was huge because if I was going to somehow really be able to compete in the sport of wrestling, I couldn't wear those prosthetic legs. I couldn't wear those fake artificial legs that I wore every single day when I was your age, whenever I would go somewhere in public, whether it be the mall, the movies, and especially school. Now, why do I wear those fake legs? Well, I wore those fake legs because still, at the point of my life, once again when I was your age, I was just still so embarrassed, so insecure, so ashamed about being different, so ashamed about not having legs, so ashamed about being disabled. And I said to myself, you know what? I have to be who I am. I have to be Rohan Murphy. I have to live my life to the fullest. And hopefully, all the kids in my school, and especially all my new teammates in the wrestling team, will be kind enough to embrace me, who I am. So once I had first practice anyhow, I took off my cross-legged legs, hopped in my wheelchair, crawled out to the middle of the mat, sat down, and I was looking at all of my new teammates around me. And I was terrified. So afraid maybe someone's gonna make fun of me, maybe even bully me because I was so different. But something that practice happened, which amazed me, I'll never forget. Something amazing happened. All my new teammates, every single one of them came up to me, one by one. They shook my hand, they looked me in the eyes, and they said to me, bro, it's great to have a wrestling team. We're gonna have a great season. And for the very first time in my life, I felt acceptance. And I felt that I belonged somewhere. And afterwards, my coach says to me, bro, I'm gonna show some wrestling moves, we're gonna be doing some matches, and we are gonna have a great season. I told him, all right, coach, let's do it. And before I continue, I want to give all of you a quick demonstration of how I would wrestle, on how I would take someone down. But for me to do that, I'm gonna need a volunteer. Any wrestlers? Any wrestlers? All right, no mic here. So, when I began to wrestle, my coach, he was him and a guy from Oklahoma, a true legend in sport of wrestling. He was a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 10-time world champion. His name was John Smith. And he said when he wrestled, he used a move that no one else seen before, called a low single leg takedown, where he would somehow get down really low, grab one's ankles, and take him down. So when I wrestled, when I took someone down, it went kind of like this. There you go. Give me a hand. And finally, when I was in 9th grade, Mike, you all right? Yep. All right. When I was in 9th grade, I was finally able to play a sport. My dream had come true. Finally, I was able to play a sport. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys. That first season, wrestling JV junior varsity, I didn't do too well. I finished that first year with a record of only 2-13. 2 wins and 13 losses. I know, not very good. But after that year, I said to myself, what if I could somehow overcome this? What if I could somehow, despite of all this, could become successful in not only wrestling, but big picture, become successful in school and life as well. In school and life as well. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be remarkable? Wouldn't that be extraordinary? So after that first year in 9th grade, started working really hard in sport, started training really hard that spring, summer, and fall, leading to my 10th grade season. Came back in 10th grade, I improved a lot, made a varsity team in 10th grade, and I finished the year on varsity with a record of 25-6. So in just 1 year, I went from 2-13 to 25-6 on varsity. But still, after that year on varsity, winning all those matches, I wasn't happy. I wasn't satisfied. You see, for me, good just wasn't good enough. Good just wasn't good enough. I wanted more to life. I wanted to best myself. I want to be not just good, but eventually, I want to become great. One of my favorite books is called just that. It's called From Good to Great. It was written by Jim Collins. In his book, the author Jim Collins discusses why some companies fail to make that leap from good to great. You know, why some companies like Kmart don't become Walmart. Why Blockbuster doesn't become Netflix. And that's what I want to do. I want to make that leap from good to great. And make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. Legs and no legs, I was going to win. Legs and no legs, I was going to achieve great things in my life. After the season, we went to a team awards dinner. My coach was nice enough to give me a team award for most improved wrestler. I remember sitting there holding that big award, that big trophy. My mom was right next to me, and she asked me, "Bro, what's wrong? Why aren't you happy? Why aren't you smiling?" I told her that I don't want this award for most improved wrestler. I don't want this award. I want the other one. I want the award for MVP. I want the award that said best wrestler. So at that dinner, I had a little meeting with my coach and I asked Coach, how can I somehow get to that next level of sport wrestling? Once again, how can I somehow go from good to great? He said, "Bro, this summer, try going to wrestling camp." He said, "Bro, if you really want to, try going to 2 camps, 3, or even 4. I told him, all right. So I went with my parents anyhow. We did some research on camps all across the country. And most of the camps were pretty similar. 3-day camp here, 4-day camp there. Nothing really stuck out to me. Then I found this one camp that was pretty unique, that was pretty special. It was called the J. Robinson 28-Day Intensive Wrestling Camp, which was held all the way out at the University of Minnesota. Did some research on the camp, found out that all the wrestlers would go there, wake up every single morning bright and early at 6 a.m., work out for 4 to 5 times a day for 28 straight days. I told my parents, "Oh, this is perfect, this is exactly what I need." Not for wrestling now, but for life as well, because it was around this age, I was beginning to really look at colleges. And growing up when I was younger, I basically had 3 goals. 3 goals I really wanted to accomplish in life. 2 of them were to somehow find a sport I can play, which I found, the sport of wrestling. But the second goal was, someday after high school, I wanted to attend a big university. I want to live on a big college campus independently by myself, and someday earn a degree and graduate from that school, college, or university. And for me, that was a big deal because growing up disabled, now, don't get me wrong, I was very lucky, very fortunate, great family, great parents, but my parents, especially my mom, were extremely overprotective. I guess you could say as a kid, when I was your age, I was pretty sheltered for the most part. To give you an example of that, when I was your age, anytime my class in school would go on a field trip to say the Empire State Building, maybe Washington, D.C., or Forest Valley, my parents, or my mama should say, would never allow me to go. She never allowed me to attend because she was so afraid that something bad would happen to me. So I finally got to my life, I told my mom that it's just time to let me go. It's time to just set me free. I had to figure out if I could be independent. I had to figure out if I could someday live on a college campus by myself and take care of myself, once again, like any other college student. Thankfully, my parents agreed. They allowed me to go to this camp at the University of Minnesota, and this campus changed my life. Really gave me a different perspective on things. And some of the workouts that we do as wrestlers, they were pretty tough. They were pretty challenging. Let me give you an example of one. So at camp, once again, we would wake up every single morning bright and early at 6 a.m. And at 6:30, we'd have our first practice of the day. The first practice would usually be a running practice. Since I didn't have legs, most of the time I would just do laps around the track by myself in my wheelchair. But this one morning, my camp counselor really wanted to push me. He really wanted to challenge me. Challenge me, not just physically, but challenge me mentally as well. My camp counselor happened to be a guy by the name of Brock Lesnar. You guys ever heard of Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
Who is he?
MMA title.
WWE wrestler, MMA champion. So one morning, Coach Lesnar brings me outside the middle of the track. There's a football field. Coach Lesnar brings me down to one end zone. He says, "Ro, hop out of your wheelchair," which I did for him. He then looks at me and tells me, "All right, Ro, I want you to somehow, for me, try walking down through that end zone, 100 yards in a handstand, all the way down." He then says, bro, when you get down to that first end zone, how about you try doing a pyramid of 10 push-ups? Try doing a pyramid of 10 push-ups. He then says, bro, after all those push-ups, if you're able to, try walking back down over 100 yards, back down to this first end zone. Once again, in a handstand. And initially, I thought coach was kidding. I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. And I was at point in my life, I would just do anything to improve. I would do anything to make myself not only a better wrestler, but a better person as well. So I did for coach 100 yards, just like this. And to be honest with you, I was having a difficult time. I mean, I was stumbling. I even fell down a couple times, and I had to pick myself back up, like so. Yeah, I know, savage, all right? All right, but here's the deal. After I made it 50 yards, halfway, Coach Lesnar surprised me. Coach Lesnar told me that I could stop and go back. Coach Lesnar told me because the workout was so difficult, I didn't have to finish. But I told Coach no because I'm the type of person that when I start something, I'm gonna finish. So 100 yards, just like this, all the way down. So finally, made down 100 yards to that first end zone. Now Coach Lesnar says, bro, try doing a pyramid of 10 push-ups. And a pyramid of 10 push-ups is pretty difficult, right? It's not just 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes something like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm not gonna do all 10 now. You guys get the point, right? Sure you do. All right. So finally, after all those push-ups, Coach Lesnar, as you all know, he's a very demanding guy, pretty intense individual. He then says to me, bro, you made it look easy. How about you try doing 5 to 10 clap push-ups? Then come back down. What's a clap push-up? Push-ups. Now the hard part. No, 100 yards. No, 100 yards. Back down to the first end zone. Coach Lesnar. I had to finish. He was down and waiting for me. I couldn't let him down. But I can't say it enough. Can't stress it enough. Coach Lesnar, why make you do this crazy workout up and down the football field? He wasn't trying to test me physically. Not physically, but mentally. Will I give up? Will I quit?
No.
Will I break? Of course not. But here's the important part. No mic here. I always tell kids this story because growing up, when I was your age, believe me, trust me, my family and I will always surround myself with doctors, physical therapists that told me what I couldn't do in life. They always told me what I wouldn't be able to accomplish in life without legs. So as a kid growing up, whenever somebody told me that I wouldn't be able to accomplish something, I did anyway. Just to prove them wrong, prove to them that I could be successful. No matter what. Let me give an example of that. Like I said, growing up, I had 3 goals. 3 goals. But I only told you 2 of them. Play a sport, and then someday after high school, graduate from high school. So, one day, back in 11th grade, I had a meeting with the guidance counselor. I never forget. We were in his office, going to different schools, colleges, universities. I told him my first choice, my dream school, was Penn State University. Penn State, a school that was great academically, great school academically, but a school with also one of the best, if not the best, Division I wrestling programs. I told him I wanted somebody to go to Penn State. I told him I wanted somebody to wrestle for Penn State. But most importantly, I told him I wanted to someday graduate from Penn State University. When he told me, my guidance counselor, he said, bro, Penn State, that's a great school, bro. He said, bro, I know you got the grades, bro, but he said Penn State, bro, that's a huge campus. 45,000 students on one campus. 45,000 students on one campus. He said to me, bro, Penn State, wouldn't that campus be too big for you? Wouldn't that be too much for you? He said, bro, how do we get our own campus on your own? I heard it snows a lot at Penn State, he says, and believe me, it does. He says, bro, if it snows so often at Penn State, how do we get to class on your own when it snows? And I never forgot that. I never ever forgot that. To make a long story short, obviously, yeah, I went to Penn State. And just in case if you're wondering how I was really able to get around campus to get to class on my own at Penn State when it snowed on campus, simple. I would just call campus security, have them pick me up, and take me to class. Easy does it. And back to that camp anyhow, I think I impressed Coach Lesnar by doing a workout across the football field. Why? Because Coach Lesnar made me do it again. Great guy, huh? And the very last day of camp, the 20th day of wrestling camp, before each kid was allowed to go home, before each kid was allowed to leave, each kid, each wrestler, simply had to run a marathon. Simple. You wake up, that final day, you run a marathon, then you go home. But the thing about the marathon, what really made it different was that for the very first time I camp, I guess the only time I camp, each wrestler, each kid is given a choice. Each kid was given a choice to run either 5, 10, or even 15 miles. Take a wild guess at how many miles I chose to do in that wheelchair.
15.
Well, it was honestly probably 16 or 17 because I got lost on my way home. But the point is, just like all those guys in that camp, all of you have a choice as well. You all have a choice as you get older. You all have a choice to be either average, good, or great at whatever you love to do. Whether it's a favorite subject in school, favorite sport, art, dance, music, theater. As you get older, you all have a choice to be either average, good, or great. I hope, from here on out, you choose to be great. I hope, from here on out, you choose to get the most out of life. I hope, from here on out, you always choose to be your personal best. Because as you all know, you ain't living twice. You get one life. So you might as well make it count. With or without legs. Came after I camp, did pretty well in high school wrestling. Once I got to high school, I attended Penn State University. When I was in college at Penn State, I decided to go out for the Penn State wrestling team. So one day, I had a meeting with Penn State wrestling coach in his office. I knocked on the door. Coach answered, big smile on his face. I told him, Coach, my name is Rohan Murphy, and I would love to be a part of the Penn State wrestling team. He says to me, sure, bro. He says, great. He says, bro, how about you become one of our managers? You can help us take stats of the matches. You can help us videotape the matches. He says, bro, be one of my helpers. Be one of our managers. I told him, Coach, no. I said, Coach, I want to wrestle. I want to be on the Penn State wrestling team. He looked at me and says, well, bro, if you're in a wheelchair and you don't have legs, how exactly could you wrestle? I told him, Coach, it's kind of hard to explain, but I can show you. He says, all right. So I took him down right in his office. Coach says, all right, that's enough. Coach has me fill out some NCAA compliance forms, and he gives me a trial for the Penn State wrestling team. And our very first practice was something a little bit different. It was a workout where all the guys on the team were going to run up a very tall, steep hill, a ski slope, right outside of Penn State campus. And I just remember now going through this practice, looking at all my new teammates around me, watching them warmed up, stretching out, getting ready to run this tall hill on their feet. And I said to myself, if I'm going to make the Penn State wrestling team, and if I'm going to be successful in not only collegiate wrestling, but in life as well, I can never, ever use this as an excuse. I can never tell someone I can't do this workout because I don't have legs. I can never tell someone I can't study after high school, go to college, and graduate because I'm disabled. No. My life motto, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's called no excuses. No excuses. You want something out of life? You want something out of life? Go get it. Go earn it. Go achieve it. So, after my teammates left me on the hill on their feet, I followed them. I followed my teammates on my hands. Through the dirt, through the grass, through the gravel. It took me about an hour and a half to make up top of the hill. About an hour and a half, but I did it. And I finished. Why? No excuses. And I once heard Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. say, wherever you're going in life, you should fly there. get there as fast as possible. And don't you ever let anyone or anything stop you. And if you can't fly in life, you have to run. And if you can't run, you're gonna have to walk. And even if you can't do that, like myself, you're gonna have to somehow, starts with a C,
Crawl.
good job. All right, really quick to wrap it up. I think, not all, but some people, strangers, when they see me in public who don't know who I am, what I've accomplished in life, they kind of look down at me. They kind of say to themselves, oh, man, that guy doesn't have legs. That's a shame. His life must be very difficult. That guy without legs, he was dealt a bad hand in life. And I'm fine with that now. I really truly am. Because they can think whatever they want to think. Because I know for a fact, just because you're dealt a bad hand in life, doesn't mean you have to fold. Doesn't mean you gotta give up. You gotta persevere. You gotta keep on going in life. You see, I'm a true believer in that. Every single person eventually has to overcome something. Every single person eventually has to overcome something. Has to overcome some type of hardship, some type of struggle, or maybe even some type of adversity in life. And adversity, as you all know, being young, being kids, adversity comes in many different shapes and forms. It could be growing up in a single-parent household, maybe watching your parents go through messy divorce, maybe watching your family struggle financially, or maybe it's something pretty unique and extreme, like not having legs, like myself. But hey, if I can overcome this, and if I can be successful, and accomplish great things in life, despite of all this, why can't all of you? What's holding you back? What's stopping you? At the end of the day, what's been your excuse? Once again, guys, thank you for having me. Much, much appreciated. Thank you. Hold on. We got about 5 minutes of questions. 5 minutes of Q&A. Q&A. Any questions? Any questions? All right, hold on. Let me start by saying this. A lot of kids ask me this, actually more so younger kids. They'll ask me, bro, if you have legs for a day, what's the one thing that you would love to do? Honestly, that's a great question. Great question, because there are a lot of things I love to do with legs. A lot of things I love to experience with legs. Maybe go for a walk on the beach during the summers here in Long Island. Maybe try going off a bike ride with friends. I've always wanted to go swimming as well. Maybe go swimming. All that'd be great. All that'd be wonderful. But I could choose one thing, and only one thing. You know what I'd love to do just once in my life? Just once? I'd love to simply just be able to go somewhere in public, like the mall or the movies, be able to walk around like all of you, and just know and experience what it's like not to have every single person stare at you. Just once. Just once. What I'm trying to say is, you guys have no idea how lucky you are. You have no idea how blessed to have the lives that you have. As you guys get older, do not take your lives for granted. Do not take your lives for granted. Sound good?
Yeah.
First up. No, I do not play Fortnite. Can I ask you that?
Ryan, no disrespect, but like, how do you use the bathroom?
I'm pretty independent, trust me.
No, like, do you like hold the toilet?
Would you rather have legs or arms?
Hold on. Right here, man.
Would you rather have legs or arms?
I don't know. That's a tough one. Right here.
Do you ever wear your prosthetic legs?
Do I wear my prosthetic legs anymore? No, not at all. I actually stopped wearing my prosthetic legs back in college. Why I stopped wearing them? It's hard to explain, but wearing prosthetics is very uncomfortable. It's like wearing shackles. And I was never really happy wearing them. I'm more so cosmetic, so people want to stare at me. But I'm at the point in my life now, you know, if I go somewhere like Stop and Shop and people stare at me, then so be it. At least I'm happy.
Could you do a backflip?
Can I do a backflip? No, I'm kidding. Sorry, guys. I'll work on that, though. My 5-year-old nephew always asks me that question as well.
Can you do a one-hand push-up?
One-hand push-up? No, not really. I can balance. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
not really. Can't balance myself. I'll work on that, though, for you guys. Next up. Take Murphy, Instagram at Rohan Murphy. Shameless plug, right here. Do I have kids? No. Yeah, maybe someday. Yeah. You guys getting personal with these questions, man.
How much do you bench?
How much do I bench? Best if ever is only 350. All right. Would I use prosthetic legs for powerlifting? No, not at all. Yeah. They would actually tie me down to the bench, and that'll give me more leverage when I bench.
Have you ever wrestled Brock Lesnar, like, personally?
Did I ever wrestle Brock Lesnar? No. But I would beat him for sure. Yeah. Right here in the back. Can I drive and how do I drive? All right. So in my vehicle, I use hand controls. So in my vehicle, to the left of the steering wheel, there's a lever that I'll pull towards me for gas, push away for brake, and on the steering wheel itself, there's an object that you can steer with one hand. So when I drive, it looks as if I'm playing a video game. But then when I usually tell kids that, they ask me, well, bro, how are you able to scream? Thank you, appreciate you. How are you able to get your wheelchair in and out of your vehicle? Allow me to show you.
Oh my God.
So that's going in. And now coming back out. There you go, that's how I do it. You guys aren't impressed by that? I'll say this, the most difficult part about not having legs is that I've had to figure out how to do everything without legs on my own. There's obviously no book on how to live life without legs, and most people have legs, so I've had to do a lot of trial and error how to do certain things. When I was 17 years old, and I figured out how to do that by myself, happiest day of my life. You have no idea.
Your next endeavor is writing a book.
How fast can I crawl? My hands? Not too fast. Sorry, what was that question?
Your next endeavor is writing a book on how to live without legs.
Yeah. A book someday. We'll see about that. Yeah. How about one more from a teacher administrator? Got 1 minute left. Teacher, administrator, adult. Thanks. All right, y'all. Hit me up on Instagram, TikTok. Thanks for having me again. Have fun in your field day. Enjoy.